prepares you to be a designer? I think nothing really prepares you to be a designer. It's like, it's a gut feeling. You do it because you love it. You know, you do it because that's the only thing you ever want to do. I mean, as long as I can remember, I've always been designing.
My brother has always been talented. I mean, we saw that when we were growing up. The favorite story I like to tell my buyers is that he could, you know, draw before he could, like, speak.
I went to FIT here in New York, but much later on. I mean, when I was in the Philippines, I was studying in University of Santo Tomas for like a year. And it's funnily enough, my teachers at the end of the year kind of told me, you're in the wrong course. I was taking advertising. And they said, every project you do has like a girl dressed in something. They're like, clearly you're in the wrong course. But at that time, there really was no other fashion school in the Philippines. I ended up hiring a seamstress to work in my apartment, and that's kind of how I started. So I sort of really learned, you know, the craft by watching people do it. So I went from one, you know, costurera working on my dining table to eventually, like 3 years later, having like 30 of them working at a different apartment, you know, in Malate when I used to live in the Philippines.
What I said to him was that if he's going to be a designer, especially here in New York, it's got to be the best, because otherwise you will just be eaten up in here.
You've been featured in fashion magazines. How did you first get noticed?
They saw my collection at stores, they saw this bag, and they're like, who is this? And before you knew it, I got a phone call, and all of a sudden Women's Wear wanted to put me in, and they were interviewing me. They're quick, they're very quick, which I have to tell you is fantastic, because, you know, look at what Anna Wintour's doing for Vogue. I mean, for all the Asian American designers. I mean, she's really put so many names on the map. And these, you know, and she's right, because they are going to be the next, who is the next generation of Donna, Calvin, Ralph? I mean, it's the young people now. And, you know, like last year, I mean, almost 80% of the people she was promoting were all Asians. We're not a minority anymore, we're a majority.
Now, how do you dream up your designs?
Yeah, I have like this uncanny ability to remember detail. I mean, I have like photographic memory, so I will remember like details from like, you know, 10 years ago. I'll literally remember how it's made, how this should be that way, and it's kind of crazy. I have sketchbooks because I sketch a lot, you know, like doodle when I'm in airports, when I'm like waiting for something, I'll end up sketching. And I have like 20 of these sketchbooks, and sometimes when I'm like, oh my God, I have like nothing in my mind, I'll just look at all those sketchbooks, and sometimes something will come.
What does the future hold for you?
You always have to have your A game. You always have to be on top. You like, it's non-stop. It's, you know, as soon as you're done with one season, you're literally like beginning the next. There's no time to just kind of sit in your laurels. You know, in fashion, it's like you're only as good as your last collection. So it really is like, you can't just say, okay, well, I'm done. That was a good collection, basta. You know, kailangan, you have to keep going to the next thing.
There's so much potential for him. His talent is limitless and knows no bound. It's not just personal pride, it's also national pride at this point. You know, it's an immigrant success story. It's, you know, why people come to America is to have opportunities and to have the opportunities that would otherwise not be present back home. And I think that Rafe really embodies an immigrant success story.
I do what I do. I don't really do it so that people can be proud of me. It's my work. It's what I love to do. But when people tell me that I make them feel proud to be Filipino, so that they're really proud of what I'm doing, you know, it's fantastic. It's a great feeling. And if I can inspire a generation of designers, nothing would make me happier.
For his accomplishment, Rafe Tatengco was conferred the 2005 Filipinas Magazine Award for Entrepreneurship.